life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, they're leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. Breaking the rules, yeah, he's setting the tone. For every designer making magic their own. Blueprints and dreams, they're the tools of the trade. With free heathen workshop, the future's made. His models are art, his passion's the key. He's building a world for the community. Through struggles and triumphs, he's always on deck. With the mantra he lives by, protect your neck. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, and leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. It's more than print, it's a way to rise through the sweat and tears under burning skies. He's here for the makers, for the love he gives. With every design, he shows how to live. Free, then leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter. Hear the call with free heathen. There's room for us Yo, it's free heathen breaking the game. For the makers, the dreamers, remember the name. Crew and tribe, we're riding this wave. For every creator who dared to be brave. He's the man with the vision, designs that inspire. Fueling the scene with relentless fire. From the crew to the tribe, he's breaking the mold. Building a legacy that's fierce and bold. Promoting the makers, he's lifting them higher. Every model a spark, every print's desire. He's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free heathen workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, they're leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. Breaking the rules, yeah, he's setting the tone. For every designer making magic there.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Free Heathen Workshop. My name, of course, is Maker Millwright. Welcome into my laboratory. How is everybody doing today? Glad to have you all here. We're going to do some Tinkercad design today. And I think we're going to go from there. So I just got to open it all up, make sure I got everything running the way I want it to. Of course, we're using some ChatGPT for the write-up for today's show and stuff. Easy stuff. It helps you grow, so I recommend you do it. There was a period there where I wasn't using it, and then I started using it as background image generating, and then I used it to sort of sort my ideas for Twisted Spire and Darkstar Chronicle. So it just ends up growing, right? And it ends up being quite good, and it does help generate new ideas. We are actually going to work on something similar to an AI image I grabbed that I thought was like, it's okay. But I think we're going to have to change it because I don't know. We'll make this one and then we might have to make a different version because it's okay, but I'm like, meh, you know how it is. So I just got to load up all my profiles here. Remember, if you need anything, you can go check my links down below. Thanks, Thingiverse, and Maker World, of course. Remember, pick up that stuff from Maker World. Help me earn them points over on Maker World so we can get a new printer. Um, what else am I doing here? Yeah, I guess I'm showing you guys some stuff. If I can find what I was working on. Hold on, let me just look and see if I can find it, because I have a sneaking suspicion I didn't label it correctly. No, this is just junk. Okay. There it is, steampunk truck. I don't know how steampunky this will be, but we're gonna give it a shot. Um, it's not very steampunky, but we'll work on that. So, of course, I'm gonna jump you guys over to Tinkercad. So you can see here, this is Tinkercad. Tinkercad is the default program I use intentionally, simply because it lets you. It's really useful. See, it's kind of a mess in here, but we're not worried too much about everything just yet because we're going to work on everything. Um, we're just going to build it all out first and then worry about it. Um, I don't know. Well, hello, hello. So again, we're just working on what we can, where we can, and I like the shape of the front, although it's like way overcomplicated. But like, yeah, I think this comes back a little bit, then up a little bit. I don't know. It's too far out there, but we'll have to trim it and stuff. We'll do that as we modify. But yeah, we're just looking. I don't know. Let me go look at my source picture. I generally like look at something and get inspired by it, and then go from there. Right? I don't stress about um, building exactly what I see. Darkwing truck? No, it does have a beak on it though. But no, we're doing like an APC. But again, like I get too obsessed with, oh, will it print well or whatever, and I really shouldn't worry so much about it. I'll be honest. It's like one of my biggest weaknesses is like, oh, because after years of doing this, you get to the point where like, oh, is this gonna print? Is this gonna be, is this gonna be good or whatever? And I don't know why we're doing vehicle. I guess because we haven't done a vehicle in a while. But typically, like right now, I'm not. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, that's fine. Typically, I haven't been doing vehicles because the vehicles and stuff don't necessarily um, work to the content I'm creating, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so that's not terrible, terrible, although it is too wide. Something like that, maybe. Gotta get out of the ones position. But just like a little bit of artsy design stuff. There's no sketch for this, nothing like that. This is 100% pure, just on the spot creativity, which is something I like to bring to you guys whenever I can. And I think we're gonna, I don't know, shape the top of this maybe. My drawing has it a little bit squared off, which we could do, I guess. It's like pocketed. I do like the new tooling for the placement of stuff. Do like that quite a bit. I'm very impressed that they continuously update um, Tinkercad, which makes me quite happy. So this is too far forward. So this needs to be trimmed back too, maybe? Where's this? Because if this comes back to here, that sort of gives the impression of what I'm looking for. So I don't know, like, per se what I'm exactly doing. I'm just sort of making as I go. And we'll see how it turns out. Because, like, the last one we did was a boat. I didn't release it because I wasn't very impressed with it, I'll be honest. I just didn't like the look of it, so that's why it isn't released. Now, if there's enough of like an argument in the community to release it, then I will. But I generally don't release anything I don't like. I'm just that's like one of my rules. So if you guys are like, "Oh, but we really want it," I'm like, "Okay, well, let's talk about it, and maybe I will, right?" Just sort of looking at how this is. I'm looking at how it is. Let's do this. Let's go 4, so 16. I guess in this would be taller, but you'll see here. We just sort of there's a bunch of different ways to make boxes and things. This is like by far one of the easiest. Is you just make an insert into one like that, and then you can just take other boxes and you can kind of figure out. Oh well, if I want posts in the middle, what do I have to do to make posts, right? And then that's just what you do. You just sort of and we just center align these. And what we're doing is I just have an image that I'm working off of that was AI generated, and I'm like, nah, let's try and make it right. Like let's, yeah, it's not going to be exactly right because the mechanics of it is a little bit more challenging than I understand how to do. But that's the thing about all this, right? Like the one thing I'm always telling you guys is like make sure you make something you like cuz you're the one that has to look at it. Nobody else has to look at it. You do though. So, you sort of have to choose what you want, right? And I'll be honest, a lot of, like, I don't know if the term vibe designing is correct or not, but, like, basically, I just make whatever I want. I just kind of design and fiddle with things as I go. And when people struggle, that's when I help them out, right? I guess we can do this. Let's do this 2 mil. And it's one of those things where it's like the more you practice, like the more you design, the better, typically. And that's kind of the secret to all of this. And I know like people disagree, like, oh, you should take a break and whatever. No, no breaks, all gas, all the time. And it really does matter. So it's like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't work that hard. It's like, well, I do. Have you seen the trailer for Ice Cream Man? I kind of want to get an ice cream truck now. Oh, I do have an ice cream truck I sort of did for a local hip hop artist that I really like. I find him very inspiring, so I made something for him, like based off of him. So I can show that to you in a second. His name is Snack the Ripper. I quite like hip hop. I know there's mixed feelings out here in the web of webs, but I actually quite like hip hop. It's gonna be a nightmare, isn't it? Oh, we're cooking. Can we get the last one? I don't know. Oh, well, we can. Nice. And then we just group to this, and this will give us a pocket all the way around. So you can see like that. We might have to modify this a little bit, but because that can come up. Yeah, because we're trying to avoid those overhangs, so we might have to come back. So let's go. Let's leave that for now. This can actually come up if we really want. Actually, let's just move this whole thing up a little bit, just like that. Doesn't really change a whole lot. Doesn't mess with the geometries. It gives us that weird back panel thing. So then we're gonna put a roof on this thing. 2 mil. I like 2 mil for thickness a lot of the time, just because it's easier. So, because you don't want things to break. So like your minimum extrusion, right? Like a single wire of extruded filament with a number 4 nozzle on traditional settings is zero point 0.4, or sorry, 0.04. Is it 0.04? No, zero point 0.4 and 0.42. So it's quite small. So to get when you double that, you're just short of 1 mil, right? So because you're like 84, right? It's a difference of 16.16. So you end up a little bit bigger, right? Let's go 20. It's hurt today. Where our lid go? No, we're just gonna turn our lid back to 2. Line to the top of this. Oh, my Muzak quit. We're listening to some. Oh no, The Who. They're like Mongolian, I think. I believe they're Mongolian. Throat singing. I'm not a big fan of throat singing in metal, but these guys do a dang good job. I'll be honest. Just mag this down to here. Probably bring this down just a little bit. There we go. Line to the center of this. So we've got our smokestacks going. What else we got here? So it wants me to put windows in this thing, but it's going to be kind of a nightmare. So we're going to start by doing some stuff that it wants us to do. But we're just making a thing. So like, don't overthink it. Don't be like, oh, Maker, why isn't it X, Y, and Z? It's because we're just making a thing. We're just doing the thing, you know. So come down like this, and then come back up. Like so. Let's make that round, because I know at some point I'm going to be like, this all has to be circles. Generally, you keep the amount of like triangles down as much as you can when you're first building. I don't know much about that. I might have to change some of this, because I'm not super impressed with it, but that's okay. I'm really hard to impress, so. This can be bigger, as long as it goes into the side like that. Okay, so this gets copied. So this has got to be big enough to fit that underneath it. Still needs to go down. Perfect. So this will then align to this. This should have a bevel on it, I'll be honest with you. Let's put a bevel on this. I don't like it when it does that. 0.5. There we go. This should also have it. Because these are like flange faces. Same. And then same over here. If I'd stop hitting all the wrong buttons, we'd be alright. There we go. Same here. Just like, you know, because we're just like, I don't want to call it vibe designing, but we're basically just vibe designing. We're just making stuff for the sake of making stuff. There's currently no like anything beyond what we're looking at here for this. Although we could bevel the top of this. Let's do 0.75. Let's do that. And then that. See here. So what I'm doing is I'm punching out the top of it. We'll do the same thing over here. So we just ungroup it again. We're going to check this. Okay, it's that. Right, we're looking for 128, right? 128 or whatever. It's typically what we use. Because that's like the maximum number of facets it'll give us. So, but let me show you the ice cream truck. This is bad because it doesn't have my name on it. So, there's a wicked, good hip hop artist here in Vancouver by the name of Snack the Ripper. And I love his work. And I still have to. I've done a ton of these. This is version 3. We probably need to update it again because my skills have gotten better again. But so I designed um, him a little rolling. Like I have to go and redo the microphone because the microphone won't print well. I know it won't. So I have to go through and fix that. But this will be the constructed over here. But I went through and I sort of cleaned everything up with new improvements and made it more modular so it could be printed in multiple colors and assembled. But even that, like, there's more we can do. Yeah, if I could get it to, I'll show you here. But again, I draw like inspiration from around my community. There's um, there's like many artists that I draw inspiration from. There's many designers. There's many people who work really hard. Um, there's actually a few of them that I need to talk more with, and then I'll end up more than likely I'll just end up making them something. And it's just the way I am about things. So it's like, do I expect that from other people? No. But growing up, as when I was a kid, I was always like, how cool is it when you see those artists and those musicians and people give them like handmade art? Well, I guess all art is handmade. Even the robot stuff is handmade, really. But I was all about that. Well, I'm not much of a pen and paper artist. I'm not much of a painter. What I am is a pretty decent three-dimensional designer. So every time I sort of interact with my community or interact with other people who I think are special to me, I'm like, hey, maybe I'll just make something for them. And it kind of goes on deaf ears, I'll be honest with you. But I guess people don't love toys as much as I love toys, right? So there's a there's a community member right now who's taking care of a very close member of their family, and they're going through it. And a lot of our community has lost people this year, and last year, and the year before. Actually, it's been pretty bloody couple of years for people, and they are very important to me. And so I'm going to either make them an NPC for one of my tabletop games I work on. See, this still needs more work, right? You can see here, but it's getting better. Like my placement's better, my alignment's better. We'll figure it out. But this is the Snack the Ripper truck. Yeah, so that individual, I will probably more than likely make them a toy because I think toys are so great. And maybe if they're into the pen and paper stuff, I'll put them in my pen and paper games. But that's generally what I do. But this is a ice cream truck, monster truck, because he likes monster truck. This is Snack the Ripper. He likes monster trucks. But again, this will probably get modified again. I have yet to print any variant of it. And then, because he's going on tour again, so I'd like to make something up for him, right? So, but you can see my lights, everything's a little bit out of alignment, so everything has to be moved and changed, but it's fine. And then you can see here I've hollowed it to save material, and I may just add even more to it. But we did everything we could so far, but that microphone is terrible. So I'll have to figure out how to make a better microphone. But yeah, so like I draw a lot of, particularly in the hip hop industry, I draw a ton of inspiration from hip hop, like unbelievable amounts of it. See those, even those wheels, like this shaft is all wrong. This is all wrong. It all has to be remade, as you can see. So this all, but the hubs are cool, and it's just I build projects as I go, you know. So that's a little bit better, but that pocket is way too bad. And then this should all align. I wonder if this can align center? Is this centered? I don't know. Sometimes I don't make things centered the way I'm supposed to. Yeah, see, it's not. So basically what I need to do is, because there's lots of room in there, I need to take this and then just slightly move it over, and I'm in the ones position. But I think I remade the axles, see, because that looks like they're awfully tight in there. And so that may have to, this may have to be rebuilt. But, you know, we'll keep the shape or whatever, but we'll change the bore. But even this whole thing is like way out of alignment because it needs to be like there-ish. Because there's like a pocket for it. So again, you know, you work on stuff, and sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's not. But and then this needs to come over. Oops. And then we just deselect a bunch of this. But you can see here, like the bore on the, you can tell I've like remade things and remade things and remade things, right? That's more aligned. I haven't tested it, so I don't know. It looks a little tight in there, but we can change some stuff, right? Well, these wheels are actually going to be smaller because you can see here, see how much room there is around that shaft? Doesn't need to be. So, but this is like, so I don't know if you're talking about the ice cream horror movie or something that I'm not aware of, but what I can tell you is that I have I'm happy to make an ice cream truck, but this is the one I made that was inspired by a local hip hop artist. And he probably thinks I'm like some uber nerd, right? Like, no doubt. Like, no doubt. But there's no way I was printing this with supports, was I? Is this parallel to the bottom of this? It is. Oh, buddy. I'm playing with fire there. That all has to be remade. But yeah, I like I say, I draw so much from my community, and I'm so grateful for it. So, but yeah, and then like I said before, it's I never had a lot of toys as a kid, so now as an adult, I like toys a lot. Wheels are not terrible, so this is just the alignment is out. Is it out? It's out. Just looking here. I know. We're supposed to be working on something else, but we'll get it figured out. And then this just move over a little bit. No, basically it aligns center to this, which won't be center because it's flat, but whatever. It's close. Close is good. Same on this side. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually shown you guys like old work. I typically don't, because like tomorrow is always a new day and there's always something new to make. And then we have to basically make the bottom of this flat or figure it out, maybe make it print upside down. But we don't want that because it'll screw up the hood. So I don't know. We could cut the bottom off it. There's lots of options, right? Yeah, this is the Snack the Ripper ice cream truck, version like 3 or something. Yeah, version 3. I redid doors. Yeah, so they'd probably make it version 4 soon. Yeah, listen to some more of his album. But it's looking good. It's supposed to have like the Gravedigger kind of look to it. You know what I mean? Because it's like that. I've seen him post stuff that he likes that, so that's what we make, right? This goes to the second pipe, and we'll do it to the first pipe, and then the diameter on this needs to be bigger. So these should not be as small as they are. They're too small. And just so you guys know, you're welcome, Polymaker, because I'm giving you a commercial. But right now, if you use my Polymaker link, there's 40% off COPE and Starlight Filament, Starlight PLA from Polymaker, which is actually a really good deal. Like normally I don't normally promote deals, but because I don't like it, but it's actually a really good deal. And Starlight Galaxy is my favorite. It's my favorite. And then that, yeah, they're offset in height. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're just kind of sort of. I draw, like having the robots draw you something, be like, hey, this is inspiration. Go from there. Do that. Like, don't. There's so many people who try to tell you, oh, do this, do that. Listen, don't listen to them. Listen to me. Make stuff and do things, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You're gonna enjoy it, so just do it. Um, oh, I need this to be the fixed side, I think. No, maybe this is the fixed side. Still don't like that, but that's okay. Doesn't look much like exhaust to me. Good evening. And this whole thing dissolves into the cabin for some reason. Ooh, 7th Nation Army. Let's go and rename this video. Yeah, that's COPE. So COPE stands for copolyester. It's a softer material. The thing everyone kept promoting it as is like support material, but I've built like a bunch of Gridfinity components for it. Gridfinity is this like desk organizer system by Zach Friedman, and the copolyester. Um, don't ask me to explain the chemical composition. It's similar to PLA, but it's soft. It reminds me of old like the PLA from years ago, but it's soft. It sticks really well to build plates, which is like a really nice thing about it, but you got to make sure you use like an interfacing material like glue, for example. It will come off the steel plates, and it shouldn't peel off the PET. Not PET, the PEO. PEO? Yeah, PEO. Shouldn't peel that off, but it could, right? So, but it bonds very well. It sticks very well. And my experience is it runs really fast. So, like on the machine right now, for example, I just finished. I started this before the show, and I just finished it. And what it is a screw bin. So like you can get it from one of my profiles, but it's a tapered screw bin. So it's staggered internally with like high points, and the whole thing is on a taper, which allows you to kind of sort through screws and washers and stuff. Because as you pull them up, they sort of the different weights and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's pretty good. The COPE, just remember it's soft, and they say, oh, it's not for structural. I was like, okay, that's fine. Um, so like for me, I found that it works well. Is that too small? How thick are you? 3? Let's go 4. And it's crazy on sale. So if you're not looking to make anything like remarkably insanely tough, I think you should take a look at it. But again, take that with a grain of salt because of course I am asking you to use an affiliate link. So oh, hold on guys. A little stiff today. Ba-doop boop ba-doo. Boo ba-doop boop ba-doo. Sorry. So we're working away on stuff. And then we're just coming here and then we have to find out our lead in, lead out length, which is this down here. So just increase that and that'll show us which side. Because we don't know which side it is. Okay, so it's the bottom one, sure. So let's do this one. That's going to be way too much, but we'll pull it back. Oh, it's actually not bad. That's not bad. Could be a little bit more. We're trying not to go through. But I do find the sliders hard to. There we go. I do find the sliders hard to do the thing. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the sliders down here. So yeah, so that's sort of. Now it wants us to do windows and stuff, which is kind of hard on this design. I asked it, I said, "Oh, hey, can you make something in can you make something that's drawable in Tinkercad?" And it's like, "Sure, I can." I was like, "Okay," and then it did, and it did not work for me. Kind of am lazy here. How lazy can I be? Like, can I do that, really? I can. I'm not sure I want to, but I definitely can. And then I can actually... Can I take this one and reverse it? Flip it and reverse it? So, because I kind of like that little stick out point. I like this little, like, lip here. So this one. So this is the one I want to stay. And it's the other one that I want to be shorter. There we go. And then we have to do something about this ramp. Because it's more... It's weird because, like, the way they draw it. But that's okay. And it wants us to do rims and stuff. So we're starting to get there. Let's, we're gonna have to modify this, right? Okay, so that's like our center hub assembly. So that can actually go this way. Oh, I see. No, it can't. So this and this and this should be able to come down. Still need to trim all this out. And I don't even know what I'm going to do here. I think more than likely I'm just going to do this. And this is probably a mistake. This is probably straight up a mistake. Yeah. Looks like it's becoming a mistake. So let's do that. And then we have to cut a bunch of this away. I don't know how it... I said on this one I wasn't going to worry about making it printable. I was more interested in just making it cool. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, this may be like the other one that I did off an AI render where it's like, meh, I don't think I'm going to keep it, right? So, and I want this. How do I want this to cut? I want this to cut this at an angle. So I need to come out here like that, maybe? Undo. Pick this up. And I want this something like that, maybe? And then I need to move them in more. And I need to center them. What's that look like? So they need to come out just a touch more because they're leaving a little bit of a lip. Now we can come out more. And then what do we got here? I don't think this thing even has doors on it. No, it doesn't even have doors on it. It's got some weird shapes and stuff, but no doors. And then there's like a grill cut into this. Should just be working in this plane, but it's fine. Let's just make sure we work in that plane. So what I'm doing here is I'm like assembling components just for the concept, and then we'll figure out how it all goes together later. So now we're on the same plane, right? So we're modifying inside that plane. And then it just, what has it got here? It's just in the drawings. It's got just some slats. And we can do that pretty straightforward. So we're going to come all the way down inside because we got to be inside the shape. I think we're going to come proud, and then we're just going to round them off. And then we'll take all the steps off it, right? Just do the same thing. Sure. Looks very G.I. Joe-esque. I like it. So we group that, and then we're going to align to the center of this. Just take this, and we can move it down so it fills in the gap. So it's the gaps filled at the top and the bottom, but there's like a pocket in there. And then, so like, it wants windows like the same way, I think. Yeah. Well, its angles are not nearly as severe as mine, so maybe we do the tires, take a break and do the tires, or do the lights maybe? I don't know. But even this, like, it wants... It sort of wants it... So we need to just get rid of that. And this needs to be smaller, but... And we'll just shrink it down. And it wants like little rampy parts here like this. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at here. You know, weird angles. It's cool. It's like beyond my skill right now, so we just keep playing with it. But how would I do that? Yeah, I'm not sure how I would do that, but that's okay. Something like that almost, and then cut it off. But I don't know how we would cut it off. Basically, put it on this plane, then cut everything, maybe. Just copy this, do it the same thing over here. Yeah, I think that's what we end up doing. Is we just like take these two, make them parallel. Oh, take these three actually, make them parallel to this edge. Yeah, like that. Mike, am I talking quiet again? Let me see if I can turn it up. Some ASMR design where I gently talk to the machine and try to figure it all out. It may have muted my mic again. Wireless device properties. No, we're here. I'm just talking quiet, I guess. Just talking quiet, I guess. So yeah, so like you can see all this extra stuff that's on here that we don't need. And I don't know how we're gonna trim all this backside off, but we'll take this, put it on this plate, or this angle, whatever you want to call it. Because this will, and then we'll just take this and we'll just take all of this away. So then we join. So this one, these should definitely be in a different color because this is what we're working on, but it don't matter. We join with that, and that should cut it all the way. Yeah, there we go. Leaves a nice little pattern there. That's pretty cool. I don't know how we're gonna trim all that out. Again, just working on the concept. Yeah, sure. Um, and then so this all joins as one piece, and then that joins as well. Which we may have to modify that, but I think maybe this angle's too steep. I don't know. The drawing's different, but we can put a window in this. I think we could just do a squared off window, maybe. I have no idea like how to put doors on it. There's no doors on the drawing, which is fine, but and I think this could get trimmed back a little bit. Well, it's not terrible. Yeah, that's fine. It's parallel. So let's put a window in it. You can see all the wild angles on it. So is this here needs to be a different color because like we're gonna get confused here by all the different pieces, right? I really haven't. Oh yeah, and we did receive our custom built model from War Duck Miniatures. It came in the mail yesterday, which is pretty dang exciting if you ask me. He's such an awesome designer. He took one of my models and then he put the War Duck special treatment on it, which I think is pretty cool if you ask me. But you can see here, like we're just adding. Does it mean anything? No, not really. Right? Not really. But we are adding texture to it. And it wants like a mesh screen in there, but I don't think we can make a mesh screen small enough to look good, to be honest. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to maybe... No, I want... Why is this not all joined up? This can be a little bit bigger. Oh, there we go. Just changing up some colors so we can kind of see. So this doesn't... I'll be honest, I don't really know how to do like a window. But we can do that, right? So let's do that. Right, and that'll end up being like blue. And if we don't like it, we can always change it, right? It's not a big deal. So I don't like all this crap under here, so I don't know how I'm going to get rid of that. But like, I guess I could put a block here. Right. Like that, maybe. we just come across and like that, I guess, and then we just trim this away. I guess the same again to get rid of all that green. I guess. See, typically drafting programs are designed to be used with like a drawing. Like make your own drawing and then you draw it on paper and then you make it real, right? Well, we just make whatever we want, so it tends to tend up being a little bit on the more wild side, I guess you could say, because we just keep designing and we design our way in and out of problems, if that makes any sense to you. That trims some of it out, and then what I don't want that red, I don't want this here, right? But I need it for up above, I believe. If I move this, does it change anything? No, it doesn't. We'll have to figure out the axles and whatever. I don't know. We'll have to do suspension of some sort, but we're going to copy these. And we're going to ungroup these. And then we're going to see exactly how big we can get. We can get pretty big in there. And again, we're not going to be, we're just going to come back and like, even that's kind of pretty massive for a tire. And then, so that's our sample right there. So this comes out of here. This just goes back to this. I don't know. It's all mangled. It don't matter. Because we're going to get rid of all that. We're going to rebuild that. All of that. I just don't know how yet. We might just cheat and put a block in there. Just like do inside fender and then not worry about it. Like kind of what we did on the Snack the Ripper truck. Where it's like the fenders are all gutted out and then there's like a big flat plate and then pardon me, the axle, the hub is just like directly attached to the body. If that makes any sense. So we're going to copy this a bunch of times. Right. Bring these up. Actually, we're going to bring this whole thing up, I think. There we go. And actually, this all probably has to be... See, even that can be bigger. But anyway. I think that's in the wrong position, but... Because, like, how big is that tire? That tire... Well, there's clearance there, I guess. There's clearance there, I guess. Okay, so we're going to do a bunch of things here. So, we can just bevel the tire out. And that gives us, like, a pretty basic tire, right? But... we can make one slightly smaller. Say 20 mil. And we're going to change its color. And then we align the two to center, right? So it's center on center, right? But then what we can do is we can like come along and use like half rounds and create a tire pattern. And we can do it, just pretty much do it however we want. And then we can like duplicate the tire and stuff. So there's like a bunch of like sort of workaround tricks I know. So then these become parallel, right? Which they are. Then we group them. Then we make them parallel to the tire, right? So centered on center. Right? The length doesn't matter, right? Because they're going to be cuts. But we then copy it, and we can rotate it, and rotate it, rotate it, rotate it, rotate it, rotate it, rotate it. And you say, well, like what are you exactly doing? Well, these are all going to be holes. We group them, and group it. There's our wheel, right? And then that's not big enough, right? So we line these two on center. Right? And you see here, oh, it's not touching. Well, we can just keep making it bigger till it does. And then we just realign it. And there's a little bit showing. But I think we want more. So take the blue one and we'll make it bigger again. And this is just allowing us to scale. I still think that's too small. There we go. And now we're starting to get like the complex shape of the tire, right? We got the knobs, we got the base. There's you can go bigger, but it's exaggerated proportions. So then that's our tire. Well, that's not much of a tire, is it? So we then copy that, set it aside. We don't need this one anymore. We probably should have needed that one, but okay. So then we can take this one and we can determine. So we can flip it on its side because it's a little easier to work with when it's flat like that. And we can determine, okay, well, how much rubber does this tire actually have? Like, how much of it is rim and how much of it is tire? Because remember, like on big sort of monster trucks and stuff, very little rim, mostly tire, right? But on street performance cars, they like to put very little tire, lots of rim, right? I've seen rims that look like they're sitting on the ground, but they actually have rubber in them, right? So, but we're gonna kind of sort of find the middle ground of that. And we just keep kind of messing with it. Okay, so there we go. So that's not terrible. Hello. So that's not terrible, right? Like that's, let's take a look at it. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, right? It's not terrible. Now remember, we can make them as thick or as wide as we want because we can also shave them, right? So I think we're going to go a little bit smaller. Just a touch. There we go. And then we're going to make a rim for it. But that's sort of where we're at there. And remember, we can keep any chunk of that tire. We don't have to keep these assembled. We can split it right down. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so we've blown it out, right? So now we can copy it. But we could actually just use, so if we know the height, right? But we could just come in here and just chop out a section of it. Like just a really tiny section of it. Oops, undo. Okay, like look how little we kept, right? But how tall is this? 8.3. Let's go 8.5, 8.3. Right? We can make that a tire. We can save that for later, right? Hit that, save that for later because we're going to do the rim assembly, right? So then we copy this, we ungroup it, and we look at this and we go, okay. So if this is 17 all the way around, we want to press fit, right? We want to be able to push the hub in and it fit. So we want the hub to be like 16.8 all the way around, and then we'll figure out the height once we get there. So it ends up being 16.8. And actually it might actually be able, you might actually be able to even do it smaller than that, depending on your machine. I don't know what is with me today. There we go. It's not what I wanted to do, but close enough. Okay, so then, okay, and then we want the hub. Now we can have the hub sit inside the tire, or we can sit outside the tire, right? I think we're going to take a look at this and we go, what? This is 8.3. Let's make the hub 8.5. We're going to turn it into a saw, but we're going to turn it into a saw like, let's do black. Actually, let's do silver and let's do the wheel of black. Oh, we don't need that. That's why we don't need this anymore. Okay, so there's our hub. There's our hub, right? So you can see like that's gonna stick when we align these two. Center, center, and center. You get a little bit stuck through on either side, right? But that's pretty boring. Like, in my opinion, that's pretty boring. So then we have to pick what side faces out because we're going to keep the inside flat, right? So what I do is I'll probably blow this out. So if it's 16.8, let's just assume 17. Half of 17 is not quite 9. It's like 8.5. Yeah, 8.5. We could do 8.5. I'll show you. So 8.5, right? But that's going to be way too small, right? So let's make this more like 12. And then that aligns, right? I know, right? It's just been a long day. I'm actually drinking a Monster right now. That's what I got right there. So then, there's some options here. So we probably want a hub. And we can kind of figure out how big the axle is going to be. Like this axle is super exaggerated, right? But it was just for placement. Like if I made this 6 by 6. Right, and I could leave it down low if I wanted to, right? I haven't even trimmed it yet. And this hub here, so this is a wheel hub, this is an axle hub. This can be smaller too. So if this is 13, let's make it 10. Let's make this 10. So you have to remember height and width, right? And then this is 10. So if it was 13, 10, so this would be 9. Nope. Pushing too many buttons, so do this is 9. And then this can be all rounded out. And then it can be shorter. So that'd be a service pan right there. Right? Which again we can modify some more. Just to get the shape out of it. Now we could offset the center, right? There's like we don't have to. Let's just use that for example for now. It looks a little small, but you know what I'm saying. So this could be in any position, right? It's generally in the center or slightly to one side or the other, depending on, because that's where the drive shaft comes in, right? The drive shaft will come in from this side, which we can then modify as well. I think I've done that in the past. And we can, what we do is like we can make this centered and centered, but that's kind of boring, right? So this can actually come in more. I don't like these axles, but we'll just keep it for now. So we now know that our center has to be at least 8, right? Because we're using 6 mil shafts. So this has to be 8, because we want at least 1 mil around each side, right? Because when you do a diameter versus a radius, when you do a diameter, it's double the radius. So if that's a 6 mil shaft, it's 6 mil across. Well, if we want 1 mil all the way around, we need to go 2 mil. Because if we used 1 mil, it would actually be split in two. It would be 0.5. Well, hello, RAM. Hello, sir. And then we can sort of decide, well, you know, how much do we want, da 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 da, right? But we can go in, we're going to make that round. And we already know, like, oh, well, we want that in the middle. But we don't want a ton of that because we're going to modify that. So let's make that 5.5, right? And now we're starting to work in the silver, right? So we're going to start locking this large wheel. We're going to lock this for now. We actually make it disappear if we want. So there's our sort of our decision, right? And we can put a cap on that. We can do a bunch of things. Like one of the more fun things, because it's gonna be printing on its like printing in the position it's currently in, is we can go into my favorites because I keep a bunch of like shapes I like. We can pick just a random gear that we like and just shrink it down till it fits on top, right? Now, can it be bigger? Yeah, of course it can be bigger. Like really, we could have it do like this. And then, if we know what that core height is, which I think we do, it's 8.5, right? Yeah. So if we made this like 5 and then aligned everything to the center, like just be lazy and just align center to the wheel. There's our hub. See what I'm saying? Now, oh, you say it's a little too shallow. Okay, that's fine. We can go a little bigger, right? Oh, well, it's got, it's not beveled enough. Well, we can do a couple of options. Like I said, we could go back and we could use the half rounds or the half circles, half spheres, and come in and do that, right? Yeah. Or we could do another rod, like what you traditionally see as like a locker on these things. And then we could just design out a locker to go in here. Right? Do a pocket and then a ring. I'll show you. I'll show you. Sure. Just a little bit smaller, and then this ends up being aligned to the center of that. Now, can we break the edges on this? Sure, let's break the edges on this. Let's do 0.25. And we'll leave it as a single segment, right? Just to give it some shape. And then we go like that, and then we punch a hole in it. Punches a hole in it. So now we just design. How would we design that? How would we design that? Is it just a circle with a square through it? Okay. So just delete this. Shrink this down just a little bit. And flatten it if we want. Then we just put a bar through the middle of it. Now remember, you got to start watching your sizes because as you get smaller, you're going to start getting into problems where it won't print, right? Because really, you don't want to be any smaller than about 1 mil. You can. I'm not saying you can't, but what happens is you start to have problems with your extrusion. And you come down like that, and then so how wide can we do that? So that's like 1.7. Let's go 1.5. It'll be really small, so you may not see it, but like 1 mil is no joke. We group that, and then what we can do, see that's the locker, right? So then the locker comes up. Is it break time yet? I don't know. Yep. But there's your wheel locker. And then that would sit down inside that face, and then like that, right? And then again, of course, everything centers to the purple one, right? And then there's your center hub. There's your wheel, right? And this goes black. And this unlocks. This all groups. And then this ungroups. Again, I don't like these, so we can do something with this at some point, but because we still have to make the pocket in the back, right? Like there has to be a pocket for this shaft to fit into, so it pushes together. Well, I guess you could also use filament, but I'm not sure. I have to go look at what axles actually look like. And actually what I can do is copy this. This is delete this because I'm lazy. Copy this, align it to this. Then this has to go the opposite way. There we go. And then what I can do Because again, we haven't really done all this yet, but I can copy this. And again, so this hub will press into that hub, so, or sorry, into that wheel. And, you know, we can change it or whatever, right? So we come here, we want to be on that edge, we want to be center, and then we want to be center on that. And then there's our wheel, right? And then the same on this side. And this turns that way. And then we take this, change the color of this. And we pull this out, and there's the start construction of the powertrain, right? And we just join. I still don't like the size of any of this, but it's fine, whatever, right? We'll square it away. So we group that, copy that, move it to the back, which we still have to fix by the looks of it. But now we're starting to get some shape. Now, I guess we have enough clearance in there, but we could do double axles, right? This has to go the other. Oh no, that's right. This goes the other way. All right, so I'm gonna take brake, but you can see like doing, you know, making what you want is all that matters, really. Like, does it have to be realistic? No. Is it, you know, are you gonna print everything? Maybe, but probably not, right? So you're allowed to just design for the sake of designing. It is super fun. Right, and then it just comes in and pulls this pink off. Yep. And then as for this in here, I don't know what we're gonna do here. Well, actually, we could leave that. That big square piece is a little bit on the wide side, but it could. Did we trim that? Oh, we did. We did trim that. So we have to figure out the front, but that's not terrible for like creating leaf springs or something to attach it all down. You know what I mean? And those tires, they're a little small for the vehicle, but like our spacing is not great. Like if I took these and made them just a little bigger, can we do that? I don't know. Oh, did I screw up the axles? I think I screwed up the axles. It's fine. Um, sure. No, undo. Ungroup. Get rid of this. Make these a group. Let me bring them back. And we just have to find where that. We just have to align this axle again. So we ungroup this. We take this. I don't really know what I'm doing here, but we'll figure it out. But it's not terrible. Even that is not in a bad place. I still don't like the shaft diameter, I'll be honest, but this can come up and it can be aligned to the center of that again. Is it? Now it is. Now it is. There. And then my service tray would actually go the other way. Because that's the service pan, right? And I could go look at actually how axles and stuff are built, but we're going to go to multicolor just because it's easier on me. Then we'll take this, we copy it, then we'll align it to the center of this again. Yeah, take these, align to this. That was a mistake. Sure, we'll leave it as orange, because then we can change this. And then we get rid of the black one, I think. And then we take this, and we can actually move it so it's got some room in there. Because those are fenders, right? And then all we do is reverse it. Flip it and reverse it, as Miss Elliott says. Alright, I think it's break time. I don't know how to do this window. The idea maybe do the window on the flat, but then it looks stupid. I don't know. We can take a look at that. But that's right, and then we can just copy this, and then we can scale these up. So it's like if we know the scaling, we just change it. There's an alternate version. Right. So you're not like that's the nice thing about doing all this is you can kind of like pick and choose whatever you like, right? But there's a variant, and then we can even change like the rims and stuff if we want, right? Like in the back, you don't need lockers. There's only lockers on the front, and nowadays it's all like mechanically locked, either vacuum locks or whatever, right? That's like what the old AMCs had, is you could flip a gauge inside, and as long as your vacuum hoses weren't damaged, which you could replace with all silicone, but as long as they weren't damaged, it would suck in the gear, and then you'd have four-wheel drive. And it's like more like all-wheel drive than four-wheel drive, but you still don't want to drive around in it, right? But that's, it's really kind of straightforward what you want to make, or what you can get whatever you want, right? Like I'll just copy this and then I'll use this to make another wheel. Watch. So I find out the height of these. It's 27.27. Is that really? 25.27, sorry. Because I don't like anyway, so the wheel's slightly smaller, but like to a point that it doesn't matter. And then we just copy this out, undo, and then I just ungroup this, and then I just delete this. And this should be able to be multicolor. There we go. And even now, like we're already starting to make variants. And we're just working on tires, right? And then the other, of course you go on and do the variant of the hub or whatever. I'm gonna take my break, but we're already doing variants, which I think is pretty cool. And then we have to do lights and stuff, but I'm not sure how to make this like more window-esque. I guess that is the closest I'll get. It doesn't really look like much of anything just yet. Even with the exhaust on top, it really doesn't look like much yet. There is some alterations to this that we can make. And then this just had panels from the drawing. The drawing they did is really good. So we'll try and get there, but it's different than mine. All the little rivets that they did on it, or the robot did on it, really help, but we'll maybe do the lights next. But I'm gonna take my break. I'll be back in a few.
It's free heat and breaking the game. For the makers, the dreamers, remember the name. Crew and tribe, we're riding this wave. For every creator who dared to be brave. He's the man with the vision, designs that inspire, fueling the scene with relentless fire. From the crew to the tribe, he's breaking the mold, building a legacy that's fierce and bold. Promoting the makers, he's lifting them higher. Every model a spark, every print's desire. He's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free Heathen Workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, they're leading the way. he's setting the tone for every designer making magic their own. Blueprints and dreams, they're the tools of the trade. With free heathen workshop, the future's made. His models are art, his passion's the key. He's building a world for the community. Through struggles and triumphs, he's always on deck. With the mantra he lives by, protect your neck. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free haven leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. It's more than print, it's a way to rise through the sweat and tears under burning skies. He's here for the makers, for the love he gives. With every design, he shows how to live. All free, then leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter. Hear the call with free heathen. There's room for us all. Yo, it's free heathen breaking the game. For the makers, the dreamers, remember the name. Crew and tribe, we're riding this wave. For every creator who dared to be brave. He's the man with the vision, designs that inspire. Fueling the scene with relentless fire. From the crew to the tribe, he's breaking the mold. Building a legacy that's fierce and bold. Promoting the makers, he's lifting them higher. Every model a spark, every prince desire. He's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free heathen workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, they're leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. Breaking the rules, yeah, he's setting the tone. For every designer making magic their own. Blueprints and dreams, they're the tools of the trade. With free heathen workshop, the future's made. His models are art, his passion's the key. He's building a world for the community. Through struggles and triumphs, he's always on deck. With the mantra he lives by, protect your neck. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free haven leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive. It's more than heathen breaking the game. For the makers, the dreamers, remember the name. Crew and tribe, we're riding this wave. For every hire, every model a spark, every prince designer, he's got the skills, the hustle, the drive. Free heathen workshop, keeping dreams alive. So keep your chin up, protect your neck. This life's a grind, but there's no regret. Just build, 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 let your heart connect. I love you and you matter, never forget. Oh, free, they're leading the way, pushing the limits, redefining the play. For the crew, for the tribe, for the ones who strive. He's the pulse of the maker's drive.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Free Heathen Workshop. My name, of course, is Maker Millwright. As you can see there, I'm basically into Tails now, my COPE, which I'm going to save for support material. That is the last screw bin I needed for my Gridfinity. So yeah, so check out, just so you guys know, there's an incredible sale right now. I don't normally promote this stuff, but like I said, you're welcome, Polymaker, because this will be out forever. But shout out to Polymaker. Down below is an affiliate link for me. Free Heathen is the discount code. Polymaker has a 40% sale right now on COPE and on Starlight PLA. Starlight Galaxy happens to be my favorite filament from Polymaker. Anyway, so we're designing. Can't believe how tired I am. Well, we got a little more design left in here. So you can see we're designing like a combat truck of some sort. It looks much cooler in the photo, so we're going to maybe start working on the lights and go from there. I got to take a good look at them, though. Oh, they're really straightforward. Okay, never mind. I don't know how this is all going to end up working, but we'll try it out. I think that's not bad. Then we'll make a little pocket. Just ordered a couple rolls of Polymer PLA metallic chrome from Jake 3D. Not on sale. What do you do with Polymaker doesn't sell direct Estonia? You write Polymaker strongly worded letter. That's my advice. Write them a strongly worded letter. Well, and yeah, the Jake 3D is quite nice. It is a shame though because like that's one of the really cool things that's going on right now with the Polymaker is that it is like way on sale. Which is like not that Polymaker is, doesn't go on sale or anything. It's just this is like one of their they call it their restock or whatever sale or back to school sale. I don't know. But it's really like that's a good price. Cuz like often people will tell me, "Oh, well, yeah, Maker, I want to use Polymaker, but I find it a little more expensive." And I was like, "That's fine. Like you can find it expensive." And I was like, "Yeah, it's good stuff." Like, they've been a sponsor for the show for 4 years. 4 years, 5 years, something like that. I haven't used a lot of stuff from them lately, though. I'll be honest. I haven't really been making a whole lot lately, so it's it's sort of like kind of hard to like I typically would be using Polymax for a build like this, but I am all out of Polymax, which could be partially why it hasn't been printed yet, or sorry, why it's so slow to be designed. Is typically when I run out of material, I slow down my design process. But as I said before with all you guys, right? I said like, oh, even if we don't get sponsored, like even if the sponsorship showed up or turned out to dry up yesterday or tomorrow, right? I would still make what I make. Like I like what I make, right? So that's like a big deal to me. I think maybe like Can this align to this? I'm doing this the hard way, by the way. This should all be probably moved down to the ground. Yeah, let's take this and move it to the ground. Just gonna rotate it and then so this needs to be bigger. Because I want, why am I so, my mouse is all crazy right now. That's crazy movement for no reason. Okay, so then, no, I don't want that either. I want to expand. I probably want, well, I want a hollow in this, but I don't know how much of a hollow I want in it. I do tend to cut the top of it off, so let's, because I want to leave some meat on it still. Because again, like I said before, anything really less than a mil is just totally unagreeable. Like it just will not work for you. Oh, Maker, it works fine for me. Okay, that's cool. I doesn't work for me, right? So, but typically I don't. But yeah, if you can always try my discount code. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. I understand. So then this, because we're gonna change this up a little bit, right? We're gonna come here. We need another triangle, but we're gonna do a round first. But yeah, support using the affiliate links. They help me a great deal. They allow us to get more sponsorship opportunities. They allow us to do more for the community. I don't think I can have those rounds sticking out, but we'll do it anyway because I like it. And then I want a little triangle in there. This is not what I want. Well, I guess it's sort of what I want, but not really. I guess I want to cut the back of that off because I want a pipe to come out of the back of this. So maybe we'll fiddle with this a little bit. Like I want it kind of like that, and then I want. How thick is this? 1.6. What if I make it 1.2? Sure. Then this all gets aligned centers again, but then I have to move that triangle. And then we want this parallel to this, I think. Oh, that's not bad. Although, are we going to leave that point? I don't think we're going to leave that point, right? No, we're not. We can square it off. We just don't have to square it off so severe. So this can come down a little bit so it's not so intense. Do this, and then we want to come up. I can barely see it. That's fine. Alright, so then There we go. And then I want this whole thing to group. And then I want to rotate 90. And then I want a pipe that comes out the back. I might do a disc. I'm not sure because I think the pipe comes out and goes in, and then we have to make a pocket or something. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. This is all like make it up on the spot, show you guys what I'm doing, no specific plan. You know, very very much maker millwright magic, as it's been repeatedly said to me. Just randomly make something cool. Yeah, so we want to be here. And then this can come up just a little bit. Yeah, I can live with that. But you didn't trim the triangles in the back. I know I didn't. So like, I want this. I don't even know if this is going to work, right? But they look friggin' awesome. Can I come forward a little bit? I need to be a little more tilted. There. And then I can change the angle of the light, right? If I want. And then I want these parallel on. And then I want to take these. But I think I need to modify them. I think I needed to rotate some stuff. Yeah, because I want this. Well, I guess I can go a little flatter here, right? Like, can I come in that almost? Can I come forward? A little triangle piece, and then I can come up? Sure. It's going to complain about the overhangs a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't like that. So, I basically need to mag this to this. And rotate it. And then change the angle of the light. That's sort of what I want. I didn't mag this right. It doesn't want to do it. Because the angle's all wonky. Sure. That's not terrible. And then we take it apart. Because we can move some stuff around, right? Like this can come up. And then this can ungroup. And this can rotate. And come up. Yeah, okay. So we regroup it. I don't know how I feel about that pinion point, but might be okay. Okay. I don't know what the... Oh, that's the geometric from this. So we can cut the top of this because we already done with it, right? Like we know that's our finished shape. So we can come along and cut our geometry back a little bit. Because there's something you can see it sticking through the model. No, it's not. I don't know about this window. The reference is a great picture. Like, it's a great picture, but I didn't get it as well. Didn't get it as good, I guess. And then what's it showing here? It's showing like. Can I zoom in on this? Is there a zoom function in? Yes, there is. This is like weird geometrics. Okay, so then we're doing the same thing here, right? So we're kind of messing with some stuff here. And then we'll cut that edge again, because you guys know how much I hate perfect edges of triangles, or I don't know what they're called in mathematic terms, but you guys know how much I hate them. And then we're actually going to end up repeating a lot of this pattern, because there's a few of them. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, okay. I can live with that. And then what's it say? It basically boxes that in at some point, which we can do. But it needs like circles on top with a square. So we can come in here. So we'll make these, make them 12-sided, right? It's kind of like batteries almost. So this is our shape, I guess. I don't think we'll want to shrink it too much. We can, a little bit. And just push it in a little bit more. Like that, maybe. And then we copy this. And then it sort of like boxes them in, which is weird. Again, like it just randomly comes up with like it looks at like hundreds of thousands of images it's already looked at, and it's like this is steampunk or whatever. This is that. But there ain't no friggin' batteries in steampunk. And if they are, I don't know the name of them, but they're glass batteries. And you guys are like, there's no such thing as glass batteries. Yes, there is. There is absolutely such a thing as glass batteries. Do I know the correct name of them? No. Do I know they exist? Yes. Have I seen pictures of them? Yes. And then we'll soften this a little bit. And then it'll come down. Something like that. I don't know how good that's gonna look, but and everything's red, so that's the worst, right? And then that will repeat this on the other side. Gray. And this ends up being like silver. Honestly, they could all be. This all could be like a little distorted. And this comes out down, I guess. Like, we intentionally distorted it because it's out of round, right? But we intentionally did that. And now there's like some weird frame that we can do. I'm not sure. So it kind of wants me to do little corners up here. Because of the way we designed this, we've got the way these corners are going to work is they'll be a little bit on the weird side. So we might have to take this apart. Yeah, it looks like. Looks like. So then we're going to just be parallel with this, right? And then we can move this in a little bit. And then we align them. Yep, they're good. Group them, center them to this. We're going to end up cutting these, so it doesn't really matter too much. But and then we take these and we do the same. They might have to be a little taller. I don't know. Yeah, they're okay there. Because you see how they're just like corner brackets. I don't know why the design looks like that, but it just does. And then we're going to group them, and we're going to line center to this. It's like a little watchtower thing, but like, I guess we could leave that shape internally, but we're not going to. So like, this red block, which should be definitely another color because I'm getting confused. Group. So this red block and these. So these are the ones that shouldn't be red. These ones should be like green, sure. These three items. Because the way we designed it, we did it the fast and dirty way, right? And as I often tell you guys, don't do it the fast and dirty way because you end up adding steps you don't need to do, right? Now, if I built that originally in just pieces, sure. Like, right? Like you could do the same thing with 2 steps versus 8. But when you go back to like edit it and change it, it's like meh, right? So, do I know how all this fits together? No idea. I feel like it prints upside down, but there's a line, and then it bundles, so I can keep an eye on it. And then, so it wants like some weird contraptions on the side. Yeah, it's not giving a lot of detail on it. And then I will release the image of this when this is done, and you guys can be like, "Oh, that doesn't look anything like it." You're right, it doesn't. Like these stacks need to be more centered. It's there, and then this can be shorter. So this would be 79. Nope, not. And that'll pull that back, right? I don't know how much it's gonna pull it back because it takes forever to load. There we go. It's still too far. Let's do the door thing, I guess. It's a lot of like hanging stuff, which is not great for us, but we'll work around it. So we gotta soften this one right off the bat because we know it's gonna be a base plate. So we're gonna go and soften the edges off this. Me personally, I would like to see it more with like sharper edges, just the way the design looks. Oh, it does actually. It's super sharp. Never mind. So it sort of comes in here, overhangs this, like so. I guess we could sit it on top of the batteries. sits more like this. I guess we could sit on the back of the batteries. It's kind of lame though, right? I guess it's not terrible there. And then we come up. Just gonna make it a little bigger. We need to make it a noticeably bigger, but not crazy bigger. That comes down. And here's where the weirdness begins. So it's like triangles into squares. Sure. It's this and this, and I'm grouping. And they're going to be like yellow. And then we have triangles. But I'm not even sure they are triangle. Well, I guess they are. Sure. And then just like, sure. So this is centered. All right. Good enough for me. And then I copy that. So this will be on both sides too. And then these group, I guess. This everything's too much red. I gotta change some stuff. This is gonna end up being like blue. This is gonna end up being brown. These are now gray. And then there's a circular crossbar. Yeah. Mine is so not what they made, but that's okay. It's way easier just to draw something than to render something in 3D. I want that to change, but I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if that will ever change, but I don't know if that will change. I think I'm getting allergies again. This can come down a little more. Stretch it again. I guess. I don't really like that, but like, did we just try to make these out of 45 then? Like, is this better? Kinda, right? Then it just comes up and then I shorten it. Yeah, makes it better. And then we get rid of the triangle, I guess, right? sort of just trying to align where you can. And this can come out just a touch. Too far, eh? That's how small everything is. Everything is really small right now, which is not great. Let's be honest. Not great when everything gets really small. Because it looks really impressive. But that build plate size? Oh, it's a 400. Like, it's not bad. But this is small. There we go. And then, see, like, trying to figure out how to get any of this to print is going to be just a nightmare, but. And even running cable in this is hard. Because it wants me to run cable, but my truck is so different than theirs. But it does like triangles, so we can do some more triangles, I guess. Yeah, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. And then there's like, I gotta look here. There's like a half a wheel there. That's true. I can get rid of this Eminem song because I don't really like this Yellow Wolf Best Friend song anymore. Prodigy Warrior Dance? No. Time Bomb Zone? This one? Hold on. Just trying to get into the flow again. I gotta get a music list for my flow. No. Gotta get into that flow, you know? Very important. I get dropped out of the flow and then I struggle. Alright, we back? I think we back. Yeah, YouTube chat is always the quietest. And I'm on at the same time. I'm on every day I'm on the same time. And then it wants like a half wheel. So do we just put it like a wheel in? You know what? I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Do I have one of these? Yeah, I do. Like I don't even. This stuff's pretty small. That's not bad. That's not terrible. All right. Let's put this on the other side too. I think this model's unprintable. It would take me like 9 days to cut it up right. So yeah, so don't like this model, I guess is the answer. Oh, are they different? No, they're the same. Or are the sides different? The sides might be different. I may have cut this differently on each side. That's what happens when I take too many projects on. Yeah, okay, it's different. That's fine. I think what we're gonna do, we'll stay where we are, right? But then we'll change the angle of this upright right here. Which is like why I split everything up into pieces so often, you'll see. Like things are grouped. Which I actually haven't been doing on this one very much. And then we'll just move that bar down. Parallel to the outside of this. There we go. Bar can come down. Oh, looks good to me. So this can group up. And then this groups. This group to this. Odd groups to this. And this groups to this. And this all groups to this. Still kind of boring. Still kind of boring. You know. Still kind of boring. If I know anything about you guys don't like boring. Whoa, Black Betty, bam, blam. Whoa, Black Betty, bam, blam. This reminds me of something I've designed previously. I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard because there's only so many shapes, but... And we don't really want to put half rounds on there because it doesn't... Well... Can we? I guess. Oh, was it Yusu? Yusu was, Yusu just posted, if you guys are looking to try PVA, now remember, I've got experience with Polymaker PVA, but yeah, Yusu was saying they're looking for American testers. On Facebook, I think? Because not every company is like active on Twitch or YouTube or even Twitter. Sure. Let's do it the easy way. I could have cloned it, but what I'm going to do is take these two, group them, align center to this. There. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better. It doesn't, in the drawings, there's no drawings of the side panels, you know? So, beep. Zoom in. Can't tell. Whip. I don't know how I got to zoom out. I'm craving snacks. Alright, let me look at this photo again. So then there's a bunch of weird stuff in there that isn't really a thing. Like here, there's a bunch of like, I guess pipes. It shows pipes, so let's do pipes. Actually, we can kind of cheat. Let's take this one. rotate it, and then rotate it. We're going to take it in, and then we're going to make it smaller. But let's look at its position currently. Oh, it's going to be real small when I'm done with it. Yeah, okay. I can live with those. Do I want them all parallel? Sure. I don't know if any of this is centered, so. It looks rough center. Yeah, okay, I can live with that. So I'm going to copy these. Do the same on the other side. Yeah, okay. Weird. Weird. And I want this panel. Oops. I wish I could just take that panel and then put another small one. I don't know how I would even do that. Like, I don't know how I'd make that panel. So I don't. Well, I guess I could keep fussing with it till I cut out one out of a square. Might be worth doing. Might be worth doing. Man, I am tired today. And then let's look at the drawing, I guess. Let's undo. So it's showing like weird verticals, sure. So it wants like in here. So it wants me to be like flat like that, right to the edge. It's me to come up and taper the top off. Sure. So then again, yeah, just like weird. Um, yeah, I can do that, I guess. And then I need to make it shorter because there's no way that'll fit. Get it close, and then we'll just use the tool to get it correct. But actually, I probably want to come all the way up to this, like that almost, and then have this come up. And then I want this and this to be parallel. And again, everything's in red, so you can't tell what I'm working on. I'm aware. Something like that. And then we'll put another one over here somewhere. And then see if we can align to this block. Sure. That's actually not terrible. That is not terrible. I don't. It wants me to put wood panels on it. I might just do a couple more of these. Like, can I do this? And can I do this? And maybe add one or two more in the middle? I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Chat, what do you think? Yeah, I am not hating this. I am not hating this at all. This is actually not bad. I think that like alignment is all the way out, but who cares? Like geometrically, I think it's wrong, but who cares, right? Like when it looks good, it looks good. Like there's not much you can do about it. Okay, so it's all parallel there. So, and then I want this to be parallel to the outside of this. Centered? It is centered? Okay, so then we take this, which again, I gotta change colors more often. Take that and do the same over here. I can almost keep those. And then these, that's not bad. Even if they were like flipped and came out, not terrible. Terrible to paint, which means you'd have to make like a panel of them or whatever. But integrity, in technically or whatever, integrally, not terrible. They may have to come down because they're poking through the top, but not terrible. That is not bad. So these, you can see they're poking through at the top. I don't want that. I could cut them, or I could just bring them down until they disappear. I don't know. What do you guys think? We could also shrink them. Looks like we have to cut them. That's what it looks like to me. Yep. Yep, that was the answer. Cut them. And then watch. I'll come back to this model and I'll be like, you were so lazy. I'll be so mad at myself. But I like this pattern. I'm going to reuse it. So, what can I do? How do they look on the door? Like, they're not terrible on the door. If I flip them, I might have to make them shorter. So let's do this the hard way then. So I just want this one, and I want to flip it. Like that. And then take them to the door. Right? And then I think I need to squish them. Oh, it loses all that charm. As soon as I let them space out, like, it loses all the charm. Oh, well, whatever. Could be worse. I like that. And just so you guys know, I like prime numbers. And I typically like odd numbers as well. Like, that's not terrible. That's not... Like, there are worse things in this world than that design. And then this bad boy right here. I need... So let's take this. Let's take this bottom edge off. Let's get a little wild. How much of this do we want to remove? Probably not a ton, right? Let's get a little wild. What do you guys think? Take that edge off. We're starting to cook. It's still not great. But we are cooking. We are cooking. It's gonna need more work, but we are cooking. See, and It's almost like I need this. Like, was that the problem? Can I... No. So I want this. How far forward can I pull that? Like, I basically want to use that as my... Like, is that okay? Oof. Yes, but I have to cut it. That's fine. Here, right? Yeah. So I have to cut that block back to hide it inside the shape. Again, I have no idea how I'm going to make this print, but maybe it's just not a printable model. Maybe it's just fun, right? Sometimes we make fun stuff. Not often, but sometimes we make fun stuff. So that'll cut that off, and that hides it in behind it, and then that gives me somewhere to place suspension when I want to do it. And I don't know, doing leaf springs or whatever, but like we can now go. Is this one piece? Yeah. We can now like go even low. We can even get more clearance. Oops, undo. Because like we now know like that's the body assembly. So this can come down like that. Which maybe they can come down a little bit more. Like that's starting to look like something. What? I don't know, but we got spare tires for it. How are we doing for time? How are we doing for time? Yeah, we're almost there. I don't know my... Did you guys see my timer reset? I think I'm still alive. Sometimes I get confused. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Do the thing. If you're watching the show, give it a thumbs up. And then... Do we just, like... Can this be parallel to this? I think we're playing with fire here. Yeah. So does that mean we cut back... I'm going to try it and see what happens. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I don't think I like that at all. I think we have to somehow bring that hood down. I think I like that at all. Somehow we need to copy this. Make it bigger. I don't know. Like, can we just come down? We can. And then can we come wider? It's got a bunch of ugly geometry in it, but... Like, it ain't pretty, but it gets the job done. Except that overhang. Like, that's a brutal overhang. So what do? Take this and turn it to, like, a 45? 20, 22? Just, like, come along and just, like, trim that whole lip? No way. Yeah, because if we do, it, like, takes the whole lip away. Well, let's look at it. It's not terrible. And then this, ideally it doesn't come forward, but, because like, if I come forward it ruins it, right? Like if I come like that, it ruins it, I think. Well, ruins is a relative term, I guess. It's too tall though, because if I come down, that's okay. No? Like that's okay, right? It won't print. No, but and that little bit of overhang there that we cut back is not terrible. Can we align? Can we align? Can we align? Can we align? We are aligned. Can we group? Can we align? We can group. Can we align? That is a thing. I don't know what kind of thing it is, but it's definitely a thing. That is definitely not within my normal standards of design. Like, that is definitely not how I draw stuff. And then it needs like a ton of rivets. Lights, the engine, we repeated that process. It wants us to run piping out to the light, but I don't know if we're gonna. And it kind of wants me to put it wants me to put plates on everything. But I don't know how I would go about doing that. Because everything's tapered, right? I don't know how like in Fusion probably, because I can probably read. I could draw that, can't I? Can I draw that? Where's the draw tool? There it is. No, because there's multiple angles in here. I can't even see what I'm looking at here. Yeah, I can't see. Cannot see. That is a thing. And it wants rivets and bars everywhere. But it wants me to put plates on everything. I don't know how I would get that plate. Sort of know how I would get that plate, no? No, I don't know how I would get that plate. Because it wants like, which let me tell you is not going to be fun because there's like, I'm pretty sure people use a tool for this. It's not great. Can we go smaller? Let's go 90, 0.90. Sure, let's try that. And then we'll go in a little bit. Okay, so not terrible, but way too big, right? I don't know. Okay, group. Copy. Like, not terrible. can't mag them. And then we do the top and bottom, and then we gotta do... Well, let's start here. Let's just start with the easy stuff and see how it goes, right? Like, why worry about it? So... And these might be too embedded. Too far there. And then we'll join these. And then we'll center them. And we copy them and then do the same down the bottom. And then we just sort of block them out a little bit. And then copy them. And then parallel them to these. And then we just take these and mirror them. And then I guess we need to do the same on the back. Might have to do them all by hand though. Yeah, it looks like we'll have to do them by hand. There's our corner. But these... Again, this is what happens when you don't split stuff up by color. But that's not terrible. And then just break these ones up. So this one goes to the top of this one, I guess. As such, and same over here. So that at least the line looks like uniform. It looks like everything's off center, but whatever. And then what, planks on top? Let's make these 1.5, and then we'll make 4.5 thick. And then we'll sink them down 0.5. And if that's too much, we can even go deeper, right? Yeah, let's go deeper. And then we just... There's a bunch of ways to modify these after you lay them in, but I recommend you lay them in first. And you want to give yourself like a good 1 mil between the planks, because you want to be able to see the shape of it, right? And we're pretty good. So that, and then we can take them all. And we're going to raise that tower thingy, right? But there. That is literally starting to look like something. I don't know what it looks like, but it's starting to look like something. And then maybe the rivets on top too. You know what I mean? So what's today's show? Let me rename this while I'm paying attention. All right. Now we'll just close this up. Close this up. That is something. The window is too boring. All of this is too boring, but it's definitely getting somewhere. I don't know how we're gonna make the smaller rivets, and we'll have to do something with those exhaust pipes, but that is the thing, and it's not as terrible as it started. We'll have to pull back the original and bring it in. I almost feel like we should do a dually in the rear, but I think it's unprintable. So, and no, nobody's getting this. This is a remixable object. Mix it in to make it. Yeah, maybe we'll have to go through and do smaller rivets on top. I don't know what we're gonna do with the front. That is something. Alright, guys. Well, that is my 2 hours here over on YouTube. If you enjoy my show here on YouTube, you should come see my show over on Twitch. We run typically 4 hours. I will be back Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time till 4 p.m. I may or may not be on podcast this weekend. There are a bunch of other channels you guys should check out. You should check out Shenanigans 3D on Twitch, Projects in Dad's Garage here on YouTube, 3DHP here on YouTube, Retro Maker TV on Twitch, Captain Kern on Twitch and YouTube, Built Over Bot on Sundays on YouTube and Twitch. I don't know. There's a bunch of awesome creators that you can definitely get a hold of. But yeah, come see me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch. And yeah, before I go, of course, I need to ask three things of you. One, keep your chin up. You can't see the world if staring at your feet. Two, protect your neck. I don't want you to lose your head. And three, most importantly, just build, build, build. Remember, you are loved and you do matter. I appreciate you all. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys Friday on Twitch.